Welcome back for another episode of Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go. Find us on facebook.com/superfunpodcast, twitter.com/superfunpodcast, patreon.com/superfunpodcast, Instagram @superfunpodcastgo, iTunes @Superfun Game Review Podcast Go. Thanks and enjoy the show.
Welcome back for another episode of Super Fun Game Review Podcast Go! I am your host, Little Sister, can you find another way? Smith, to my left. Ralph.
Mr. Bubbles? Mr. Bubbles!
That's appropriate. Harry?
Hey, this game felt a lot like Farming Simulator because I did all the harvesting.
Oh, spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. Got the bad ending.
Clark.
You can call me Big Daddy.
Ooh.
Mr. B?
Oh, that is way too accurate. I don't want to do it anymore.
Clark, you're a big daddy?
Oh, God,
Okay.
no.
Well,
I'm never going to get an erection again.
that's a lie. As I look at his pants, it's chubby. It's okay. Well, tonight is Bioshock. Thank you, Andy. This is his choice.
Thank you,
It's
Andy.
one of his. Thank you, sir. And this is inspired by you, so I apologize ahead of time for everything that is said. So, let's get started with some initial impressions.
Oh, excuse me.
Nope,
Excuse me.
appropriate. Well, since you...
Oh, wow.
Since you
Man.
wanted to speak first, Clark, go ahead. Initial impression.
So, my initial impressions of the game, when I first saw the trailers for it, I was really excited. It's when I actually followed video games a lot more. Like, I was always constantly looking for previews and looking for reviews and things like that.
Preview, review.
Yeah.
Review. Game trailers?
Yeah, like game
Yeah.
trailers and stuff like
I
that.
used to watch them.
And yeah, I got on the hype train, and the first time I played it, was totally not disappointed. But I played it on the 360, and not at launch.
Fanboy.
No.
Fanboy alert.
Give him some space.
Why is it a fanboy?
Nah, I'm
alert?
just teasing you. All right, go ahead.
I hate 360 first. Fuck you, Ralph. Nintendo boy. Yeah, fuck you.
Yeah, you're not allowed to accuse anybody of being a
no.
fanboy,
You
Ralph.
can't say that about me.
You do you, boo-boo. What you got, Clark?
Fair.
No, that's it. I mean, I was really excited for it. This time around, I played it on the PS3. Different, much different results.
Blasphemy.
Maybe.
It's not blasphemy.
I know.
Harry, you have impressions of initial. Give them to me.
Okay.
Give it to me, Harry.
So
Ow.
this was an early game in the 360 generation, correct?
08.
It was like mid.
Well, I mean, I was already late getting the 360.
Came out 05.
I
so
feel like
Yeah.
this
it
was one of
mid.
the first games I played for the system, actually.
that's likely.
John let me borrow the game, and funny, it's still his copy that I have. So I played it before, and I got about halfway through the game, and then I think I just lost interest the first time around.
Oh, my.
I remember the first time playing it, I was having a real difficult time managing my resources. I was always scavenging for more ammo or more money, or I felt like I was always without resources in the game, and I found it very, very challenging.
That's how I live my day-to-day life. Scrounging for ammo and money.
I'm just
And
challenged.
plasmid, something to stick in your arm. Oh, that got dark. Sorry.
Whoa, yeah, no.
Wow.
Wow.
Oops. My lord.
Oopsie.
So revisiting the game, I did have this impression that I was going to have a very difficult time playing this game, but I guess I remembered enough of my previous playthrough to be a little bit smarter about my playthrough, and I had a much easier time this time around.
Good stuff. Ralph.
Harry, that's kind of interesting. I had a similar experience, actually. Like, I was ready for this game to be like a bear, and found that and I decided that I was going to be Leonardo DiCaprio in The Revenant, and I was going to get mauled in the beginning and then be fine the rest of the way. Just kidding. That doesn't work. That metaphor doesn't work.
I was going to make a joke about Ralph being pretty common with bears.
What?
Him getting mauled by a bear.
Ralph is a cub. Bears? No? You don't know about bears and cubs? That's okay. I'm about to educate you, Ralph. What the fuck? Well, wait till the microphones are off.
Yeah,
Hey,
okay.
Do a Google search.
No,
and
no,
do
no.
bears and cubs minus sports minus animals. Just do that.
What the fuck does that even mean?
I don't know.
We'll let you know.
It's
okay.
It's
All
a
right.
it's a tech, it's a tech way to search stuff. It's called
You know what?
It's called Boolean searching.
You're
No, Boolean searching.
No.
It's a real thing.
you're interrupting my initial impression, and I feel threatened by it.
Oh shit!
I feel derailed
The
now.
tables had turned.
I feel some type of way. No, I'm just kidding. I don't. Okay.
We're going to have to move seats again.
I know. This is
Rotate
getting worse.
seats. All right.
I
So
like my spot.
my initial impression with Bioshock.
You're starting over.
Yes.
You
I'm
don't
starting
have to.
now. I didn't
Now?
even begin.
Not
really.
before. Or
I didn't get a
after.
chance to
Just
talk
now.
about Bioshock
What's happening.
for me
Oh my!
as a person.
Jeez.
All right. An acquaintance who I don't speak to anymore turned me on to this game.
Oh, what?
I didn't have a 360.
What happened?
I don't want to get into it. Anyway,
Oh my! Oh,
I didn't know about
Damn.
Bioshock. I didn't know about System Shock 2. It was just kind of a Bioshock's a thing and it's really good. And I was like, oh, okay, cool. And I remember seeing the cover a lot, but I didn't see any trailers. I didn't see any gameplay. I didn't see anything like that for this game. So it was one of my first Steam purchases, I think in 2009, but I didn't play it
Going
because, I didn't play it because I didn't have a PC that could handle it.
Oh.
And I think this is one of those transition games where I had a laptop that I used for school and for gaming, and then I got another one, and that was like the game that like pushed me over the edge to get it.
It edged you. You were edging with this game.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Jesus. All right.
Oh God! The drip came out.
Big Daddy, Big Daddy, Big Daddy.
Why does it burn now? Sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I feel so interrupted. All right.
Big Daddy, little sister. Ah!
Oh.
Little sister. Ugh. Okay.
But can't you find another way? Come on, Lulu.
Would you kindly continue?
where the fuck was I?
I don't know. You were hiding behind the shadow.
So
Ralph, would you kindly continue?
Yeah. I stop. Turn.
You can
Collaborate
actually
and
just
listen?
continue. Ralph, initial impressions. Go.
Yeah, I know. I'm trying to get there. I'm trying to get back there.
You got so close. Almost
I
as if
did.
you were edging.
Almost as if I was edging.
You were edging towards your initial.
All right. Let him do his shit.
It's all right. No,
I will not let him do
It's
his
fine.
shit.
No,
It's
fuck
fine.
you.
Not in my house, damn it.
Right on the carpet. Right on the goddamn carpet.
I need to take a bathroom break quick. It might be a little bit.
Fucking, I just want to record this episode so bad.
Nope.
No. I'm kidding.
Welcome to the
Like-
rest of your night, bitch.
Anyway. Yeah,
Come on,
so I had
bitch.
trouble getting it to run, and it was difficult throughout. I enjoyed the game. I liked the.
Just let him do it.
Based on your first two sentences, I was going to say, just like the first time you had sex.
Okay, yeah.
No.
I had trouble getting it to run, and it was difficult throughout.
I feel there was a shift here. Like everyone was teasing Harry before, and now it's all on to me. That's fine.
I'm going to cut it in.
Cut it in.
Yep.
Cut it in.
Cut it.
The first time I played it, I did struggle with it, but I had a good experience. Essentially, in
Right.
a nutshell.
He said shell.
A nutshell.
No, shell. Not nut.
All right, whatever.
Oh, wait, nut. I get it.
Not every word has a joke in it, Steve.
Yes,
I don't
it
know.
does. Fuck you.
Not
You said
sure about
He
that.
said nut. Oh, he said shell.
I'm going to prove you wrong all night. I'm going to make editing for myself harder.
It's going to be 4 o'clock in the morning, and I'm going to be like, guys, go the fuck home.
So I have never actually played the game before. There was a lot of hype, a lot of buzz. I did not.
Shock virgin.
It was kind of shocking the first time I got into it. I don't
System
know.
shock, Bioshock.
It
Two in the
worked.
pink, one in the stink.
Oh, shocker. How did you know?
Bioshocker.
Yeah, the Bioshocker.
So
Sound like a golden shower? What the fuck?
I don't know if you pay enough, maybe.
No, it's 2 in the pink and 1 in the stink, but they're drills.
Jesus Christ. Wow. That just got it to a whole different level.
Power tools.
No, the fact that this game was suggested, thank you again, Andy. This is what you wanted, so here you go. I was,
Give him what he wants. Give him what he needs.
it's all for him.
This big wet game.
Oh, God. Come
God.
on.
It wouldn't run if
We're
it
making
was
jokes out of nothing right now. We're literally just
wet. Wet. Look, it's like a vagina. And oh my God, it's so great. I'll be honest, I probably would not have played this game at all if it wasn't brought up for review.
Really?
Yeah. Even though it was a really big franchise, obviously it had a span over years, different consoles, and different genres, I guess, because I've heard a lot of different things from different people. I probably would have never actually picked it up. But I'm happy that we did because, I always wanted to play Fallout Light. So it was great. I mean,
Fallout Light.
I always wanted to play Bioshock, so it worked out
No,
really well.
I actually agree with you. I wouldn't have played the first one. Bioshock Infinite is an amazing game.
Which obviously that has a giant cult following.
Is it though?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's.
Is it amazing?
It's better than this.
I don't know if it's
Are you
amazing.
sure?
I haven't played that
like
either.
100%.
I haven't played that either. But at least just playing this,
Another day, Clark.
if it has
Better
any type
combat,
of
better plasmas.
integration between
Better
Bioshock
story.
2 and then Bioshock Infinite, because there was 2 and then Infinite, right?
Yep.
Infinite was number 3.
2 is
in the
garbage.
series.
2 is
Okay.
absolutely
2 is a
So
cash in.
apparently I can skip one. Let's just go to Infinite. I am very glad that I actually got to play this because it was it's been a while.
Oh, you don't have a
And,
360 anymore, do you?
I do have one, but it does not read discs.
Like all 360s.
So you can take that back.
Yeah.
But-
that's the thing.
Great. We got that out of the way. It's going to be good. Hey, boys, let's get into some game development.
Game development.
So can I start off a little tidbit before I forget about it?
Please, just a little tidbit. Not the extra nub, but
just a little
the
tip.
tidbit.
The entire game was based off of one idea.
Aaron Rand?
That,
Drill hands,
no.
Did you say Aaron Ran?
Yes.
It's
Aryan
Ayn-
Nation.
Did I say it
Ayn
wrong?
It's Ayn Rand.
So
Iran.
Excuse me.
Ayn.
the core
A-Y-N. Ayn Rand.
Ayn Rand.
Ayn Rand.
Iran.
Ayn Rand.
I thought it was
Iraq.
Aaron Rand, but
Iraq. Okay, so everything was based off Iraq. Harry, go.
there was one core concept that they wanted to base this whole game around. A desirable resource, something to protect that desirable resource, and then the people after that resource. They didn't have any ideas on paper besides that concept, and then they built this entire game around that idea.
They
they
actually
called
built
it Adam.
What?
Their first idea, they called it Adam. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, it was basically the little sisters, which were the
Right.
desirable resource because they harbored
Right.
this.
Well, that was at
Yeah.
that was
Well-
at the end. They actually developed. They actually
No. I'm just saying that that idea. They didn't know what they were going to be, but it was
Yeah.
that
But the
entire
idea
idea
is the Atom, though.
Well, they came up with they made an entire different game that was a lot more like System Shock 3, which is this is essentially a
Right.
spiritual successor
Right.
to. But they scrapped like the whole cyberpunk thing and decided to just go underwater with it instead, and that's when they finally implemented like the little sisters and stuff like that. It's actually really interesting. One of the most interesting tidbits I came across for the development of this was all of the infighting with Irrational when they were making the game. The Ken Levine, the guy who wrote like pretty much all of the Bioshocks
Yeah,
and
I
things
know
like
he did
that.
Infinite in this one and System Shock as well, I think.
Yeah.
Right.
He became very, very skeptical and didn't want to listen to any of like the new hires for designers and things like that when it came to like, he's like, no, well, this is my vision and we're sticking to it.
Oh,
Tried to be an auteur.
No, he tried to be like Ryan, Andrew Ryan. Like,
Intentionally.
no, not intentionally. It's just a lot of, and this is more speculation outside of the actual game development and stuff, but like he became very much like Andrew Ryan, where he's like, no, this is my ideology. We're sticking to this, or you cannot work here, or I'll divide you up into groups. And that's what happened. It went from a team of 6 to like 200 people, or it went from 6 to 60
Okay.
in the time of development. And while they were going through that whole process, he would become very like closed off from one section of his designers. Rather than firing them, he would be like, all right, well, you guys are going to work on this spot, but you have to stick to these idioms, and I'm going to leave you to it. And then they would hire a new set of 6 people, and if they didn't want to roll with what his original idea was, he would
Kick 'em out.
No, he would section them off and be like, okay, you guys are going to work on this. Here's the goals. Here's what I want. You're working on that. Don't talk to
shit.
talk to the original group.
Oh shit,
Yeah.
that's dirty.
And he did that for almost 60 employees.
Holy shit! Really, 60 on a game?
Yeah, well, there were 60.
I mean, for
There were 60 on this by the end of development, but they said that there would be a lot of very heated debates and arguments within the developers group for the game, which I thought was really interesting. All in all, though, it is Ken Levine's game.
Right.
What we got was Ken Levine's original vision for the game. Not much has been altered from like what his original, how he had designed the game and what he wanted out of it. Once they set it in stone, and he was like, "This is it. This is it." I thought that was really interesting because usually games and stuff like that evolve. And I'm not saying this isn't an evolved game. They tried a lot of new things, and they did brilliantly with like some of the storytelling aspects and integrating the casting in one hand and the shooting in another. It's usually a group of designers, and they all kind of collectively make an idea. This was, one guy who then gets... It's weird because that's usually kind of how indie development goes, where indie developers, there's one guy that has all the ideas, and then there's 3 people that help him make the game. This was that, but on a greater, much larger scale, where they had the backing of a 2K
yeah,
with everything. So, like, they had a ton of money, but it was still like Ken Levine was like, okay, cool, I have all this money, I'm going to hire all these people, but if they don't listen to me, they're going to be shunned to do one specific task.
So wait, this game was done by 2K?
Yeah.
I'm kidding because there were so many
Logos?
Like, in the beginning, it's like 2K this, 2K Boston, 2K West Coast,
So
2K Zambia.
So it started only as 2K Boston, and then
They brought a lot more in.
well, the different groups started forming. And he's like, all right, well, you guys are going to go to 2K here and work on this and like get out of my office.
Holy shit!
Yeah, like it there's
So
a lot
that's how we had 2K. I think it was like 4 or 5 different locations.
Marin.
I just remember the actual
Australia?
like the loading
China.
screens when it came up. There was like 4 or 5, and it's like
Yeah.
I'm a little used to it because of Rockstar. You have Rockstar, regular Rockstar, and then you have
North.
Rockstar North, and then it's like I saw like 5 different 2Ks. I'm like, well, wouldn't you just call it 2K? I understand everybody wants their acclimates for everything, but I thought that was a bit much.
That actually started off with like one of the first companies to really do that was Sega. Sega had like a bunch of different like developer groups where like there was like the top tier Sega developers and they were all in one group, and then all of these other Sega groups.
All right, we're first,
I didn't
and
know
then
that.
you're
You
second.
don't mean Sega
Yeah.
of Japan, Sega of North America? Like,
Yes.
you mean that? Okay.
Yeah.
No, yeah, that's exactly what
Sega,
it means.
if you had talent and worked for Sega, you worked in Sega Japan and you learned Japanese and you would work there. And that is how that went. If you were less talented or less of a designer in the eyes of like the higher ups, you worked in North America, even if you were Japanese.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Welcome to the real world, motherfucker. You want to do
Well, yeah,
something great with your
surprise,
life?
motherfucker.
You better be in the right group. Otherwise, you're just going to be shunned off to like a small town in California or New York, and then you're just kind of fucked. But you might get a mention.
I mean, honestly, I could probably do an entire podcast where I just talk about like the developers and stuff like that, and like how actual developers and writers and artists are all treated by big corporations when they're making video games, because it's fucking nuts. They work like 80 to 90 hours a fucking week. They don't get overtime because they're all salaried employees. Like, and then at crunch time, they're literally encouraged to sleep at their desks.
Sleep at work, yeah.
Soon to come, Clarkman podcast, how the actual people who make games, your games, are getting fucked over, and get ready for like a 4-hour podcast. I'll sit in on that.
Well, look, I'm a software analyst, and if I didn't get paid hourly, like I would work no overtime.
Well, we're all in that. It's like whatever job you do, you can do so much, and then you still get pushed along the side. But to work on something that's seen by millions of people, and then still just get the short end of the stick, well, then you're speaking for the little man. Little man still might have his name in the credits, but it's still not going to do much of shit because you're getting shit on by the big company. There you go. Little man.
Okay.
Wait, what? No?
All right.
No? No one else? Okay.
I did want to say real quick, completely unrelated, that a few moments ago I said that the game came out in 2008. I am incorrect. It came out in August of 2007 for Windows and 360.
God
it came
damn
out
it.
in 2008
Wow, this is a
for
10-year-old
the
game?
PS3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. Not gonna lie.
Plays like
It
one, too.
It really... yeah. I don't know.
Why? Because it's never generating health?
Well, depends on... But no. We'll get into that.
Okay.
Has nothing to do with that, Ralph.
Okay. So all shooters now have regenerating health, I'm just saying.
You don't need it. Not really?
No, in this game I don't need it. No, that's not what I meant.
Wait.
Loud noises.
You won't regret it.
Is that everything for development?
I think so.
I believe we really could get into more. There is definitely, if you're interested at all, there's definitely information and more details about the development of Bioshock, and it is interesting. I played the remastered version, and I could find tapes throughout the game that are actually Jeff Keighley interviews with Kevin Levine.
Oh, yeah.
And I just found it so funny that I was like, wait, why is there Jeff Keighley in my Bioshock? Like, this isn't... Like, everybody knows who he is, and he's all over the place at any event with gaming. I was just kind of like, I wanted to watch them, but at the same time, I was like, I'm kind of sick of this dude.
Well,
Like,
Jeff
just
Keighley
go
pretty much
away.
has his own fucking award show.
Yeah, I know, but the information's out there. If you're really interested in the development of this, it is interesting stuff. Search it out, or seek it out.
I think we covered everything with game development. Let's move on into story.
Let's go right into gameplay. Fuck it. Just skip story.
Oh!
Story.
Yeah, story's not important.
Not at all.
Not for this game. There's no story here. There's no plot twist.
Oh, wait a minute. I think there's a little bit.
This is the part I'm dreading.
You're dreading story?
Let's touch on this.
I am, because I fucking played half of the fucking game.
And you don't remember the rest of it?
I don't.
Oh my god, are you
Cool.
serious?
Well, that's
Yeah.
okay.
Wow, okay,
We're
cool.
here for you.
I just thought it's one of the best and biggest video game plot twists, right up there with spoilers for Knights of the Old Republic.
Are you
for
talking
anyone who
about
hasn't
like
played it.
when you find out that you're a fucking...
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's like one of the greatest.
Really?
Not really.
It's just me.
All right,
Well, let's not debate over whether it's good or not. Let's get into what.
Let's
it is.
just talk about
it.
So you're in a pod, and then you are casted into this foreign
Bathysphere.
land.
Please,
Whoop,
Bathysphere.
Whoop. We start in an airplane.
Touche. Kind of woke up in this weird place. This isn't last night. Don't get me wrong. And then all of a sudden, there's some like demon thing outside of my little capsule, just slashing shit up. And so this is the world I'm in now. Cool. Let's run from here.
I got the bad ending.
You got the bad one? All right, well, at least let's get this out.
You harvested
This-
all the Adam.
Even though this is a bit of gameplay, but it feeds into story. So Harry got the bad ending. Clark, when you played through.
The first time that I played through it,
He got the
I,
incomplete ending.
Yeah, you got a frozen screen ending.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got a frozen crash screen ending.
But before that, when you actually played it the first time, do you remember?
I was kind of like middle of the road. I didn't harvest all, so I think that's by default the bad ending.
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ralph?
I joined Fontaine and we ruled together.
So that's
I'm
scary.
kidding. That's not an ending.
No. Would you?
Anybody get
what'd
the
you
good
do?
ending?
I got the Paragon good ending, yes.
I got the full good ending.
I rescued every single little
I think you're allowed to harvest one girl and
Right.
still get the good ending.
I saw that,
That sounds really bad,
It does
but
sound
no,
really bad.
I
I think you're allowed to harvest one girl.
Okay, I'm sorry. You're allowed to harvest one little girl.
Sister.
Just to clarify.
Little
Because
sister.
that.
Fucking wow.
So I got the
Fucking wow.
I got the good ending.
The one where they get married and stuff like that. You adopt all the little
You end up-
sisters.
I saved everybody.
You end up with a family, essentially.
Yeah. No. I
Experience. That's where I came from.
I saved everyone. It's like, oh, Harvest safe. Which we were talking about the one Mubbers where it's like I found out before I really got in depth in the game. It's like, oh, you can either save or harvest, and save sounded good, and it worked out well for me.
I think part of my decision to harvest them, like I said, my last experience was running into a resource issue. I wanted maximum amount of
Adam,
Okay, I wanted to ask about that because when you save them, if you save everyone in an area, she gives you an extra 200 Adam
yeah,
as like
you get
a bonus.
You get bonus
So
in the little teddy bear presents.
I don't remember offhand how much Adam you get if you... I think if you rescue them, you only get like 80. But then if you rescue all of them in the area, you get like a bonus.
Yes,
you
If
get a
you
bonus
save
of
them
about
too,
200.
they give you like packages. They'll drop
Exactly.
off packages.
And then-
exactly.
I didn't think it was every area. I thought it was like every X amount that you save.
No, if you pause the screen, it'll show you how many little sisters are in that area.
No, I do know that. I
Okay.
just didn't think it was a reward per area because some areas only had like 2, and I thought it was like for every like 3 or 4 is when she gives you.
Okay.
It did seem more based off of the amount of little sisters that were around. So if you saved the group, then that's where I forget her name, the madam, the one who was looking over basically
the
Tenenbaum.
Yes.
Tannenbaum.
no, what was that her nickname? Mother Goose.
yeah, which is appropriate. But if you save so many, then that's where he was like, oh well, thank you for not being a dick. And
Lady Tenenbaum.
Lady Tenenbaum and her children present you with a gift. Here's a teddy bear with some Adam and maybe a placid or 2. Meh.
A placid.
Plasmid. Lake Placid.
Yeah, damn it. That's the first thing I was thinking of. I saw that movie in theater, actually.
Oh, with the alligator, it's good.
Are we on gameplay?
I feed him. No.
Story.
No, we're still in story.
We're talking about Adam an awful lot. My bad.
No, well, at least with story, it's
It's relevant, yes.
you're led by Atlas, which he just turns out to be master for Metal Gear Solid fans, and then all of a sudden there's a reveal.
I'm really Fontaine.
I messed you up the whole time.
The voice change I always find funny in this game.
Yeah, he went from the Englishman. Hey, how you doing? No,
Yeah,
I
he goes
fucked you
from
up.
like,
He goes from like a British gentleman to like streets of New York.
Wait, isn't Atlas Irish?
Yeah, I thought he was Irish.
Yeah, I thought
Okay,
it was Irish.
Irish. I don't
Would
give a
you
shit. But then at the
kindly-
end,
All those Europeans are the same. My name's Steve.
Yeah, if we have any
I'm
English or
racist.
Irish listeners, we apologize.
I do not. I'm part
I don't
of you.
because I got it right.
Yeah, fuck yourselves. I don't give a shit.
No, judging that scene when he also changed voice, they also just slid out the profile picture and then slid in another one. I thought
Changed
that was pretty funny.
Again, Metal Gear Solid when Master takes off his glasses. Holy shit, it's Liquid Snake.
Yeah. Oh my God. He let his
Ripped it
hair
off.
down and took his glasses.
I know, he shook his head a little bit. I'm like, shucka, shucka, shucka. Fuck, it's actually him. Shit. But you were basically lied to the entire story.
Yeah.
Yeah, he goes from like, would you kindly to,
Would you kindly do this?
boy-o, you
Would
don't
you?
understand what you've done.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. No, it wasn't English.
You think Tannenbaum's gonna help you? Ho, 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 ho. It's
That was
funny.
pretty-
I think
pretty
it's
accurate.
funny.
I don't care if you tell the bomb.
Tannenbaum.
I don't care if you
Stop.
go.
If you got Adam.
If you
Official
see
ban
little
on that.
Like,
sister-
seriously, we need to get away from the fucking Rambo thing.
Nope.
Fucking
I'm
Rambo.
never going to let it go.
It wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was
It was
Steve.
me.
Awful.
I know. That's
It's
why it's so
awful.
great. It's so great. So yeah, you were led astray the entire time. But if you were a very seasoned gamer, you pretty much knew that from the beginning. I already knew, like, as soon as like the second chapter, it's this guy's probably going to fuck me over, and then all of a sudden, bloop, hey, I'm this guy. All right, well, you fucked me over.
Yeah, I know.
great,
Yeah.
great. Thanks, Healy.
Did you pick up on the whole "would you kindly" thing, or
No,
did
I didn't
Okay.
until it actually is like, would you kindly? It's
Yeah.
like, oh, you fucking shithead.
That's part of the twist. Like the twist that it's like it's got so many layers to it. It's like an onion. It's like the would you kindly
It's
is
not
the
a
twist.
cake.
The fact that you didn't actually, the fact that you're from Rapture is a twist.
You're a genetically altered human.
Exactly. I mean, the whole the Fontaine is not who.
Which I'll be honest.
Atlas
Hold on,
Fontaine.
before we get that, like who you are, I did a lot of reading on what the backstory was because I didn't know if they were going to get into it all in this game. You're actually who was the head of Rapture?
Andrew
Are you
Ryan.
Andrew Ryan's son?
Andrew Ryan,
you're
yeah.
Andrew Ryan's son.
And
Wait,
he
wait,
fathers.
wait, wait.
It's his genetic material. It's
Okay.
not his actual
So
son.
he's so Ryan is Big Boss.
Are you really going to try to make this like a Metal Gear
I'm not
reference?
trying to make it. I'm just pointing out the facts that are in front of me. Sorry, go ahead, Matt.
Are we talking?
He's giving you the eyes, Clark.
Are we talking Metal Gear 5? Are we spoiling Metal Gear 5? No,
No, we're not.
No.
All right, so I did go and I didn't catch this the first time I played the game, but I went to like I think it's a strip club. You go into the back and you find that
Nice.
someone like the one performer. You listen to her tape and she's like upset. She's like, "Oh, it was me and Mr. Ryan just did it once or twice or whatever." And it turned. I picked up on that. Andrew Ryan had a thing with this cabaret dancer or whatever you want to call her, and she had an abortion, and someone took that genetic material that way. Is that how it happened, or no?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Honestly,
You said you did a lot of reading on that.
I did not specifically that. It was more like the war, like the underground war that was going on.
Okay.
there's
may
like,
have
a book
been.
series about the
Yes.
about the
Yeah, I do know
underground
that.
war.
There was something out of the ordinary when it came to the relationship between the two. Because when it was like the ghost of the nice way to put it, the ghost of the dancer, and
Right.
you followed her back, and then you
Right.
started to pick up a little more of the story, and you don't really know what's actually happening in the story, at that present time. But once everything starts piecing together, it starts to get a little funky where that's not out of the realm of something that could have happened.
Yeah, I mean, I might be going out on a limb by saying that that's how our character is created, but it seemed to fit,
Yeah.
and that was a skippable room. I
Well-
think I don't think you had to go there.
At the strip club?
Yeah,
You may have at the cabaret. It's not a strip club. It's classy, quote unquote.
It's just a bunch of girls just trying to pay their way through college.
That's right. And I'm here with every 20 along the way.
every 20.
I got you. You need a Netflix account? I got you covered, girl.
I
What?
you, girl.
Hey, girl, you want some Hulu?
So we didn't talk about Rapture or Andrew Ryan
got
very
some
much,
Adam for
unless I'm
ya.
wrong.
I mean, if you want to, I didn't really have
Well-
much to say on them.
Well,
Rapture being an underground city, one of the most interesting settings for a video
Yeah,
game.
well, if you're talking about
okay. I was talking
Underground,
more,
underwater. Sorry.
I'm going to cut you off, but if we're talking about story, then yeah, the entire story is based in underground, not underground, underwater utopia of the vision of Andrew Ryan, and he was like this, not necessarily a
Philanthropist.
Thank you. But he had a vision in mind, and then, of course, with great power comes great responsibility, and he fucked it up. And
He
it's
was actually like a political radical.
well, yeah,
because he was rebelling against by creating Rapture. He was
Communism,
rebelling
capitalism.
against communism, capitalism, and the church. There's heavy themes of like anti-religion in Rapture
so
as well.
if Alex Jones wanted to do his own city,
Doesn't he? He has a monologue, right, where he goes about like the communist says, "Give money to your neighbor." The
Yeah.
capitalist
So,
says,
capitalist
"I can sell
says
it for
this,
whatever."
and the socialist
man of the
says
cloth
this, yeah.
says it belongs
Give it
to the church.
Yeah,
You know,
yep,
yeah.
yeah.
and then he found a happy medium between everything, except he was very, very, very corrupt in his own power. And then there were those who wanted to usurp his power, which that's where we found in Atlas, or whatever the hell his actual name was. I forget.
It
I'll
was
be honest.
Fontaine.
Fontaine? Yeah. Fontaine it was a power struggle.
And Tenenbaum
Power
opposed him
struggle.
as well.
And wasn't she a doctor from like a World War II concentration camp doctor who was picked up by Andrew Ryan for this other stuff? I mean, I thought I
Yeah.
listened to a tape about that. Or was that no, it wasn't Sue Chong.
no, Atlas isn't actually in this game because what's his name again? Fontaine is just impersonating him to make you believe that he's Atlas. I think if I read correctly, please correct me if I'm wrong, like Atlas did die at some point, or is misplaced, or just missing, or something like that. Like
I thought they thought Fontaine was dead, but he survived. Maybe I blurred the two together.
Yes, everyone is. So Fontaine fakes his death to throw Andrew Ryan off of his trail because Fontaine's trying to overthrow Ryan.
Right.
So he fakes his death, assumes the role of Atlas. I think Atlas is
okay.
just
So
created.
I had it like almost reversed.
Yeah,
kind of.
Yeah, Fontaine creates Atlas to be this alias for himself, but really it's Fontaine trying to go back against Ryan. It kind of gave him a redo because Fontaine was building a criminal underworld in Rapture to combat, or he just became wealthy off of this criminal underworld.
Yeah.
But he needed to die and be rebirthed as this rebel leader to be able to actually take the fight to Ryan.
So he's a good businessman. That's what we're
rebirth.
finding out about Fontaine. He's like, he had a shit on lock. You can't agree with him, but he did his work.
Now, taking a side note real quick.
All right, hold on. Let me get my pen and paper.
It seemed like a lot of the story was told through these audio tapes.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Now, I don't crucify me for this, but I didn't have the patience to listen to 100% of them. There were some I just...
No, well, there were
I'm not
so
in the
many.
mood. Yeah.
There were a lot.
And I mean, not all of them were like huge to the main story. Some of them were just like a side plot to set almost the setting of this city.
Yeah, which the most important ones played automatically.
Yeah.
Which there was a big contrast between the two because you could just run around and pick up the audio tapes, which is like, oh, hit to the right and X to listen to this. I skipped probably about 60% of those. I tried listening to some, but if they didn't play by themselves, I didn't find them as important to the story, or at least the way I played the game. Where, hey, I picked it up, it's a collectible item. If it started playing, all right, well, there may be some type of significance to the story itself.
I listened to them as many as I could to help with immersion. Like because there are so few cutscenes and so few real story elements.
Yeah.
That just I mean whatever game I'm playing, I usually go in for that sort of thing. Like and I've found that this is something that has been a little bit more recent for me. For instance, Skyrim, there's a lot of lore and a lot of books, but you're forced to read them, and I usually skip those. But an audio tape, just click a button and listen to it while you go about your business. I do that.
And that's true.
That I do appreciate.
That's a good way to go, too, for the fact that there's so many and where it's not so forced, but you already know it's maybe I should give a listen. I guess I was just trying to rush through a little bit, and I would probably get a little more info on Rapture or like the kind of big picture that was going on by actually listening to everything.
So something I think that's important to touch on real quick, I don't think we have to spend a lot of time on it, but...
Touch it, Harry.
I did like the scene where you kill Andrew Ryan.
Yes.
With the golf club.
Yeah.
That was very, very dramatic.
And he just gave... Like, he could have just barricaded himself, like, switch on some more machines to attack him or something like that, but he just willingly... Because the one quote he used in the game... I'm going to butcher this, too. It was, slaves... don't get to choose how they die, but I told you I was going to fucking butcher it.
He wanted to choose how he wanted to die.
Yeah,
A man chooses, a slave obeys.
You're right, because that in itself...
A man chooses, a slave obeys.
He knows what he created.
Okay, Ralph. Oh my God. Just Steve, talk through it. Just talk through it. It'll go away. Just talk through it.
He knows what he created, but at that moment, he understood, which was very, very defining. I was expecting something completely different halfway through.
A boss fight with him?
Smashing him with a golf club.
Yeah.
Because any other boss, it would be... the fact he stuck to his guns the entire time and never let it go means he knew. He already knew he was being overthrown by that point.
But speaking of sticking to his guns, why didn't he choose to get shot with a gun rather than get beat into a bloody pulp with a
Because
golf club?
It's more dramatic
it
for the
creates
player. That's
more
why.
effect. And if anything, you could just be shot in the face with a gun and it's done. But he still had his piece to say. He still had something
To prove a point.
deliver to the character itself.
But still,
And
if I'm faced with how I'm going to die, I'm not going to be like, "Hey, stab me with that spoon over there."
Hey, cool. That's why
more, you twit?
That's why I call you Bowles and he's Ryan. There's a big difference. You're not the one in that position. He
You mean
I
in a
honestly
digital video game.
Yes, exactly. Hey, great. You found the fucking difference. All right, podcast over. Harry knows he's not a simulation. Goddamn. Goddamn.
Let's go on a tangent. Like, there's a lot of scientists that are starting to believe the idea that we are actually in a simulation.
Oh God, here we go.
If you wanna go down a dark tangent.
I do not.
I don't. I really
That's-
don't.
that's
Not now. We'll
That's
do it later.
a whole different mubbers. But I'm just saying for now, for the effect in the game, I think they did that spot on. I honestly do.
Yeah, I was looking forward to getting back to that part.
It's like a very off course Walt Disney. Hear me out. He created this utopia.
No. I see where you're going.
He
with
created this land, and this is what he knows. He knows the truth. He was telling you the truth because he knew the entire time. And
It's a small biosphere after all.
it really is.
It's a small biosphere after all.
But you could have just done a gunshot. It could have just be over. He could have just ended himself if he really wanted to, but he didn't because there was a point to prove. And he fucking proved that point. And I honestly thought within the entire storyline of the game, that was one of the most impactful scenes out of everything else. Because you smacked him with the club. He got back up, said something else of relevance and importance. You smacked him again. He still came back up because he's trying to prove a fucking point. And I thought that was really, really important because that was the thing. He wanted to drive that home. And it wasn't until after drive it home. Thank you. 2 out of 3. I'm not gonna be sad.
You really
about
wanted
that.
to putt that home.
No.
No, it doesn't work.
No. Well, I think that about wraps it up for the story. Let's move on into gameplay.
Gameplay.
Welcome to the circus. No.
Yeah.
Welcome to the circus of values.
Circus
I still don't know what the
value.
ammo ones. It's just like it just like
Welcome,
doesn't
amigo.
stop.
Get some ammo. It's so.
Is that really what it says?
It's something close to it. All I know, there's a bandito ready to sell me
Bandito.
ammo.
Do bandito.
Bandito. Bandito.
So let's start with plasmids.
Okay.
What was your main combo? Well, this is what I'm curious about, at least for gameplay. What was your weapon of choice?
Wrench.
Wrench?
I went shocker wrench.
Shocker wrench?
Shocker wrench. The wrench, the 1-2 punch with that, like that was very useful. Even late game, the wrench was still because if you have the right, not augments, but if you have the right
Upgrades?
yeah, then the wrench can still be powerful and you can swing it faster and faster and things like that.
I just really loved. Honestly, you could shoot guns between like the assault rifle, shotgun. Yeah, it got the job done. But the sound of the kerplunk when you hit someone with a wrench, it was so satisfying. I'm right there with Harry. It's like shock. Blah, 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 blah. Wrench time.
And I equipped all the plasmids that upgrade your wrench, like swinging speed,
Right,
Yeah,
right.
damage. Yeah.
Yep.
And even the ones, I think you got to a point where whenever you would hit somebody with a wrench, it would give you health and Eve back.
Yeah.
I had the one that would had the chance to freeze them.
Yep. I had that on too.
Yep.
I unlocked so many
But
slots.
the only problem was I tried to avoid freezing and then hitting because you'd kill them and then there'd be nobody to loot.
Exactly. For the main plasmid, I preferred the electric shock.
Yeah.
Although I got to a certain point in the game where I didn't need to loot anymore because I was stocked up on everything. I could just expend so much ammo destroying an enemy, but I would just rather smash him with a wrench. It's so satisfying.
Yeah. I also equipped. Well, I know there was like 4 different slots. It was like an engineering slot, like a tactical slot, your actual
Hacking,
Yeah.
or not hacking.
No,
said
well,
engineering.
engineering. Yeah.
Yeah. So like all those,
Defense.
I went nuts on maximizing time on the puzzles.
Yeah.
Which we should get into that.
We're
but I want
going
to talk
to.
about plasma
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah.
Right.
Plasmids first.
I found a lot of the plasmids to be extremely situational, like the attack plasmids. Like if you hit somebody with the one that all the alarms will sound off on that person or something like that. Like,
Yeah.
you couldn't use that in every room.
Never used it. Then there was the frost where you could freeze them. And again, that runs into the situation of where if you freeze them and bash them apart or shoot them, you can't loot.
Yeah.
So I only really used like the freezing on the big daddies, so I could make them immobile and then hit them with a rocket launcher or frag grenade.
Yeah. And that's usually the go-to I would go to. Yeah,
The go-to I would go to.
yeah. Whenever
The
I would
go-to,
whenever I would
man.
attack a big daddy, it was usually rocket launcher and just unload.
Yeah.
Unload.
Well, you could do it in like 4 shots.
Yeah.
And the frag grenade, you could load 6 into your arsenal. So why not?
I'd usually lay down a proximity mine or 2 in between myself and the big daddy
That's
before I
being
started
smart.
firing rockets as well. So it was just like
Yeah.
booby trap after booby trap. Like that was,
Yeah, you said trap.
I actually liked to shock them and then use the crossbow because I remembered the crossbow and how much I enjoyed that, and the fact that you can pick up your bolts, so you can conserve ammo.
You can
by
pick 'em
using
up?
that. You can pick them back up.
I
yeah.
never went that far.
Well,
into-
there's an upgrade for that to reduce the chance of them breaking.
well, I know that one.
Okay.
I just really didn't know what that meant, and I never really paid that much attention. I was just like
So I would like
eyes on the prize.
shock and shoot and shock and shoot and shot and shoot, and at the
Shock
end,
and shoot, shock and
at
shoot.
the end of the big daddy, you get there and you're like, he's got like 8 arrows sticking out of him, and just pick them all right back up.
Yeah,
I was always a fan of the insect swarm.
I did like that. The only time I got to use that is when in the game where you can't control when you take that like the chemical drink from the one doctor where
Suchong.
where it sends all your plasmids into a whack and
Right after
you don't-
Fontaine does his reveal, then
Yeah.
your body's going through like whatever. And
Yeah.
I thought that was actually a fun way to demo the other ones that you haven't used. yet.
Yes, because I never picked up insect swarm. Sorry to cut you off, but
Oh, really?
I never used it before that, and then it would pop up, and it was like level 3. So I'm like, well, why the fuck not? So I throw the little insect ball, and then just see them swarming around. Like, oh shit! It's just like the bee level with all the hives where you have to go in and get like the nectar.
Yeah, that's right.
I
bee
hated
juice.
that section of the game.
Yeah, it was a pain in
Hated
the
it.
dick.
Oh, you mean the whole like botanical where they're the trees and there's a marketplace and like all that.
Not that whole area, just
section,
that bee
particularly the bee
section.
section.
Yeah,
Okay.
where you
I
have
didn't
to
know what the-
filter in the smoke.
Oh yeah, no, I just collected whatever I had to.
Yeah,
while
you can
being
turn it on.
stunned.
Are you
So you can turn on the,
You know-
the smoke to make them go in their
Oh,
holes.
I kept running back and forth. It's like, all right, the bees are coming back. Turn on the smoke. It settles the bees, and then the enemies come out, and then you're trying to smack down the enemies and take out the nectar juice. I forget what the fuck they call it.
Honey?
Sure, why not?
Yeah, no, I just said when I ran into the bee room, it was just I didn't know you could turn it off with the smoke, so I just used all my health.
You didn't know?
Is that part of your lightning blitzkrieg tactics for the game that you were talking about? You were 60% through in 2.5 hours or something like that?
I was I think the speed run of this game was like 3 or 4 hours or something like that.
Damn.
But I didn't get nearly there. I think I did the whole thing in like 7, maybe 8 hours.
I think the game took me about 11 or 12, but that's only because whenever I go into an area, I want to search
Scour.
everything. I am a scavenger fucking loot whore. I am the biggest loot whore ever. If there's something you can pick up, because I'm always afraid of missing something.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like there's always a gun hidden away, or there's
Yep.
always a piece to something hidden away, and I don't want to fucking miss it. So I will look over everything just to make sure. And extends a game, which
no, I
if it wasn't for the podcast, honestly, this game probably would have taken me 20 plus hours.
So I played the game for about 4 hours before I ran into my issues. We all played on different platforms, from my understanding. You guys, Harry, Steve, you guys played on 360?
I played on PS3.
You played on PS3?
I did.
Wow,
did
so we
you
literally all have different.
No, I played on PS3.
Wow.
Oh, you did. Okay.
Well, I
But he got through it.
I got mine off of the.
You got the download?
store. Yeah.
Oh.
I played the disc-based version.
Clark played the cartridge.
Yeah. So I got to Fort Frolic and could not get out of the bathysphere station to save my fucking life.
Oh.
It would crash at any given time while I was there. And I literally could not get past it.
God.
I was experiencing a bunch of issues. That was a big area when the game launched, and this was a patched version of the game. I deleted it, re-downloaded patches, just crashed every fucking time.
What about loading an earlier save?
I only had one save.
Okay.
So, also, it was just one of those things of like, there was really bad frame rates, and it affected my view on the gameplay for the PS3 version. Now, when I played it on 360, there were less. It was a lot less buggy, which I think we should talk about here in gameplay. Is the game is not perfect. There are bugs. There are some frame rate issues. There's some slowdown if you're doing lots of plasmid use with like a high power, like the machine gun. Anytime I was using like the machine gun and then like insect swarm, machine gun, there's so much shit going on the screen.
Insect swarm would be demanding. That makes sense.
Yeah, the insect swarm, but it was my favorite fucking plasmid. It's such a great one to use. Like, it's a distraction. It opens up like the criticals and shit like that.
I'm really sad to hear, because usually I'm more of a fan of actually getting the hard copy on a disc. But I downloaded this off of the store for PS3 because that was pretty much my option at the time. And it was probably one of the most flawless when it came to buffering, bit rate, everything else. So I must have had like all the upgrades, which is why at least it's downloading off of the PS3 game store, where it took about 5 hours to download this goddamn game.
Right.
But
also, I have a question for you. Do you have a slim PS3?
no.
You have one of the originals like that?
Oh, then yeah, I have the slim.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but not the slim, because there was that one.
There's a third version, yeah.
So like Gen 1, then Gen 2, and then they came out with Gen 3. I had like Gen 2.
Well, even Gen 2, the components, everything ran smoother on the PS3.
Well, then you got the wrong one. I can't help.
I can play PS1 and PS2 games on
Congratulations.
Oh, so
I have a
that's
PS1 and
not
PS2
just
to throw it on.
I have-
First
I have-
gen, that's like a first edition.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have one of the really good PS3s.
Well,
they
there's your
opted
mistake.
that
You
out.
bought it when it first came out.
They took that functionality out when the first year or something?
Yeah.
Yep.
That's why you need
Cool.
That's why you need those other systems to back it up.
I don't have them.
I played the remastered version on the PC, and other than trying to launch it to finish, like I had about 3 or 4 hours left, and I tried to launch, I kept crashing for some reason, and got to the point where Steam asked me if I wanted to launch in default settings, and I said yes, and then got in and was fine and okay, but I didn't have any hard crashes while playing. It just cut out or anything like that. My gaming laptop is pretty middle of the road for that sort of thing. It's not anything crazy.
You played on a laptop, not a PC?
Nope. Well,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, it's a PC.
Well, I mean,
Windows laptop,
There's a difference between like a actual desktop and laptop.
That's true.
Well, if it's a gaming laptop, there's almost no difference.
My specs are still good enough that it ran fantastic.
How old's the laptop?
2 years.
Oh, okay.
It's
all
not
right.
bad
Well,
at
then it's
all.
not bad
16
at all.
gigs RAM.
Okay.
Yeah,
Just
i7,
personal curiosity. That's all.
NVIDIA 860M video card. I haven't had any trouble as of yet with any games that I've tried.
Gotcha.
But I actually changed the field of view, and I normally don't do that. And I told you guys this earlier, I think. But
Yep.
I changed the field of view in
guys
this
is-
game. Sorry. I made it 120 just to broaden what I could see in all directions because I remembered being easily surrounded in this game, and by doing that, it really changed the dynamic of it for me. So I know I'm the only one who played it on a computer and not like a vanilla, very vanilla console version of it. But I would recommend if you have a computer that can do it, get the remastered Bioshock version and play that.
Well, the field of view thing, I believe, is only in the remastered versions. Of the
I
game.
didn't know that. Okay, that's very likely.
Because I remember that was like a really big complaint about the original when it came out. I complained about it. I don't like the fact that you're only seeing the tip of the gun, and it feels like you're holding the gun
Right.
up here, and there's stuff happening to your left and right side, and you can't actually see it on the screen at all, and there's no like indicator of it's happening, or someone's like standing next to you. You wouldn't be able to tell.
You just see health
Which-
go down.
I also feel like that plays into some of the like. Did anyone get creeped out playing the game? Right at the beginning, when I initially like ran into the first splicers, I was really creeped out because
When you were in the pod?
Because the
Yeah.
splicers are really fucking creepy.
True.
When you see them like 100 times to 150 times by the time you're getting to like the middle end of the game,
Desensitized.
you're desensitized.
Yeah,
to
but
it.
there are still jump scares within
Yeah.
the game,
And
which
they're-
I thought that really added to. Sorry to cut you off. It really added to the effect of the game because you're going through. Oh, okay. There's some scary things here and there, but there's those one or two pops that are like, oh fuck.
Yeah, and it just plays into like the creepiness factor of this broken down rapture when you
Yeah.
get to it.
Absolutely.
Everything's leaking, and you're like, "Well, I'm underwater. Like everything shouldn't be leaking."
The medical area is pretty horror
yeah,
themed, I guess you want to say, because as you progress, I guess that's true. Like some of the areas seem more upscale and less affected by the splicers basically going nuts.
Do you want to know something that's kind of interesting? This kind of ties a little bit back into development.
Sure.
But for the development, all the different development teams, it was level based. That is
Oh.
why there's some dissonance between the different levels and how like the game does not feel to me personally, the game does not feel like it's one cohesive game where there's a theme throughout the entire thing.
But it could be that you know of its development, so that makes sense in your mind.
I mean,
Well-
kind of, but again, like most of the jump scares, most of the interesting lighting, and the things that are like, oh, there's a splicer hiding in the shadows somewhere, you can hear him.
First third of the game.
Yeah, that starts to die off towards the end of the game. The splicers are the exact same throughout. They don't like mutate and evolve. They're the splicers throughout the entire fucking thing. They just become less utilized in a way that the level design changes how they play in the game to be more of like, okay, now there's just 4 of them running at you and you're seeing them down a long hallway and it's not scary. Whereas you enter into a dark room where there's only a light in the fucking center of the room, you stand in that light and then you're just getting fucked up.
Yeah.
There's that one area where you get the shotgun, all the lights go out,
Yep.
and you have to defend against them attacking you.
And you can only see them glowing.
yeah,
You
something
can't
like that.
see them coming at you.
Right.
Yeah, it's like
Which-
like you can see the glow off their eyes and like their backpack or something.
Which I was almost a little disappointed in the gameplay with that, where there were certain points where it made me jump. You know, it
Right.
took me off guard, and I really like that in a game. You know, backtracking to an early episode, like Until Dawn, there are times where it just pops out and it gets you. And a lot of games, you know, have a certain theme that they're trying to stick through, and Bioshock jumps around a little bit.
Yeah, I think it juggles multiple themes is what I'm
Yeah.
trying to say.
Yeah, but I honestly think, me personally, I wish they almost took a little more horror aspect because they had a lot more to work with because of the setups and like the scenarios that they put you in and the different lighting and the dynamics, because you really didn't know what you were getting into until you were there. You would go through the giant turn gate door where you were turning the handle and you walk in, you're in a new area, and then all of a sudden, blap, here's this thing, blap, here's another thing. Oh, here's a little bit of calm. You're gonna be okay.
That's a little bit of what?
Right? A little bit of calm.
Oh, okay.
Calm.
You didn't say cum.
Not
With
calm.
an L.
Catcum.
No,
A little catcum.
let me get a couple
This
words
game
in.
Couple words.
made by Catcom.
Hold on, I only have one more thing to say, really, for my gameplay piece, and that's really it.
All right.
I think I don't know if it's a balancing issue. Really, I understand the progression of, you have these standard enemies,
Yeah.
and as you progress through the game, you become better, you're more versed, and things like that.
Bullet sponges?
Yeah.
Is that where you're going with this?
So, like, the big daddies become very bullet spongy towards the end of the game, from what I remember, because, again, I only got to the halfway point. But also, again, it's this whole thing of, like, the first third of the game is scary. Like, your first encounter with a big daddy is terrifying because
Your first encounter with anything is kind of scary with this game because you really don't know what to expect, and they did great with that.
I disagree, but
Oh,
when we get to me, I'll say my piece.
So I think they're super overwhelming and things like that. Whereas towards the end of the game, you're just like, you're downing them very quickly. You're seeing them more. They're not really spaced out as much, and
they don't adjust to the point in the game that you're in. They just kind of stay the same. So they're more intimidating and more powerful in the beginning when you don't have that much ammunition or that much artillery to kind of fight them. But when you become stronger, they don't change with your character on how it changes.
Yeah, I would say
the only thing is they get more health. It doesn't make them, like, they don't become more aggressive towards the end of the game. Like I'd be fine with the same enemy if it varied its attack.
But before you go off, I want to hear what Harry has
I haven't
to say.
I haven't had a chance to get a word in a while.
Go ahead. Yeah, well, you need to be more aggressive.
You got it.
Aggressive. Be aggressive. What do you got, Harry?
So frame rate, I did have a couple issues throughout the game.
Yeah. Were
mainly-
you paying on PS3?
No, I was on 360.
Okay.
So
You don't have a PS3, do you?
no, I do not. No,
Ah.
no, I do not.
No, I don't.
I do not.
So I did want to mention that because it was mainly when there was just too many enemies on the screen. It wasn't like the plasmids I was using or the rapid firing of the gun. It was just mainly too many enemies on the screen. Game just slowed down.
Not trying to cut you off. That sounds like an actual hardware issue then with the PS3 compared to 360. Just saying because from what you were saying the first time you played through Clark and what you played on Harry, where you were having issues, maybe it was the updates that came out for it, and because I got it so quote unquote fresh, like on the very tail end when everything was already done. That's
so fresh and so clean.
I actually think it has to do with it's a very RAM intensive game, and the RAM on the PS3 is a little bit better than the RAM on the 360, and the second variation and third variation of the PS3 actually have a higher tier and higher speed of RAM.
Okay.
In the consoles itself, yeah. Because I was getting slowed down with no enemies sometimes.
So that
which
was
is
just
just
happening, period.
Water effects.
Yeah,
Okay.
like water effects and things like that, like things that are resource intensive.
Gotcha. I'm sorry to cut you off before we go off. I want Harry to get his thing. Go for it, man.
So the second thing I wanted to mention was the horror aspect of the game. Now, I'm usually probably the biggest bitch when it comes to horror games.
But you love them. That's the thing.
This game didn't affect me at all horror-wise.
No?
I did not think there was anything scary, creepy, anything of the sort.
Not one jump scare.
No, not once.
Okay.
So I was a little taken aback when you guys were all discussing and kind of gushing over it a little bit. Like, I did not find there to be any scary moments.
Oh, I'm not saying it. Like, I'm not trying to like gush about it. I'm just saying that like the beginning of the game is creepy, whereas it loses that somewhere, after the first third of the game is over, and then it just
I didn't even find that in the first third, though. I found
really
this-
like when the slicer kills that first person. Like, you didn't think that was creepy in the slightest way.
Not really. No. Like I was looking more at like the action asset of it, but I I think if they were going for a horror theme, they severely fell short.
Then apparently
I don't think they were.
I think we all need to step up our game, because if Harry is not scared, then we're not doing a good job.
That's it. Evil Within.
Harry's scared by fog. He's not
No, I mean, a
scared
lot of
by
games scare me.
mutated slicers.
Like, there are a ton of games out there that really freak me out.
I'm fucking with you, man.
They did not hit it on this one. So
Gotcha.
Now, the 1 point gameplay, which we didn't really touch on yet, that really kind of drove me nuts with this game was cycling through your weapons and plasmids.
It was kind of a pain in the dick.
Now, if I can go back and replay it again, I would avoid unlocking the extra slots for my attacking plasmids. Obviously,
you gotta cycle through so many. To
yes,
get the one you
I
want.
just want, like, there was so many heated scenes where you're in mid-battle and you are looking for that very specific, like, let's say an alarm's about to go off and you're trying to fry it with the electricity before it goes off so you can kind of finagle and do the water thing, and I'm trying to get to that shocking plasmid, and then boom, 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 no, I don't need that,
Yeah,
no,
but
I don't need
at
that,
the
no, I don't need that.
At the same time, to counter that, when you bring up the menu, it freezes the gameplay.
Oh, I wasn't doing the menu, I was doing the quick swap.
Oh, no, see,
There's
there's
the menu's wonky too.
See,
I think they needed better management.
well, it's like
with
I try to
everything.
go to the very top of the menu, and then with just like click of the stick where it goes up, and then the slightest bit when the stick goes back down after you give it like a quick flip, then it goes to the bottom, which I understand that's a pain. It's a real pain in the ass. Without trying to like quick cycle through it, I guess maybe because I'm just used to, and I'll bring it up again, Fallout. You bring up a menu, it's there. Fallout, I'm used to things moving still in slow motion, and you still have to kind of quick get to it so you have what you want. That's great. With this game, it stopped, which made it even easier. So I can just bring up a quick menu where it gives the entire grid, and I have all the time in the world to be like, oh, shock, no, I don't want that. Do I want...
Well, I also
Frost, I don't want that. Oh, Inferno, yeah, let's go that.
Well, I also
Burn the
found
bitch.
cycling through the weapons, I would find myself using weapons I didn't ideally want to use for that particular enemy.
Well, you
Just
picked the
because-
wrong one.
Well, because they're all equipped.
No.
I get it. No,
what you're
I'm-
saying is the quick switch options suck.
Yeah.
Like you, if you're going to have any sort of weapon management, you almost are forced to use the radial things once you get 2 or 3 of anything.
Yeah, and
So,
I didn't
like,
know of that existence until the final boss.
the radials.
Yeah.
The radial.
I was
Oh,
always
shit.
cycling,
To cycle.
cycling,
Oh,
cycling.
see, that's...
PC, use the mouse wheel.
Oh, fancy bitch over here. I have a mouse.
Yeah, so that was something that I read today. Actually, was people were saying that the PC radial menus aren't an issue at all.
Right. And
Well, they're probably a lot more defined.
if I needed something different in a pinch, I just hold shift, and that's where I get the menu where I can pick my plasmid or my weapon and my ammo and go from there.
Yeah, now, getting away from the cycling, though, the one thing I really extremely could have done without in this game is the camera. I didn't think it really added anything to the game. In fact, I thought it was kind of a detriment.
So
And
you
just-
didn't use it to
Oh, I
increase
used
your
it.
damage?
Oh, yeah.
I maxed out a lot of shit. I just didn't care for that feature in the game.
No,
Okay.
I agree. No, it's like, oh, I'm in the middle of the battle. Wait, let me switch to the camera. And then I just found it more...
And again, it was in your cycle of weapons. So when you're cycling through, fuck, I'm on the camera. It just, I don't know, unnecessary. I think
Yeah,
it's definitely
gotcha.
unnecessary to the game.
Speaking of the camera, I think, and this goes into what I was saying to Clark about the bullet sponge stuff, because Clark didn't get to the end of the game for this run. They actually do introduce elite bouncers and elite rosies for the big daddies to make them. I saw that sort of as a justification. Okay, they're more difficult. There must have been one enemy type that I didn't take any pictures of or just took few, because every once in a while, like, I'd find somebody, I kill them, no problem. Then I get to this one guy, just a normal Joe Schmo, and I'm like peppering him with the machine gun, and it's doing like next to nothing. And I'm like, you're just like a regular guy. Like, why won't you die? Like, this is pissing me off.
You chose the wrong ammo.
Well, that's true. I know that we didn't touch upon this yet.
I
The
did that
armor-piercing
a lot.
ammo and the you did?
Anti-personnel. Oh, yeah. No, I fucked up with that so many times from just shooting. And then I look down at the little corner where it's like,
Oh, right.
oh, these were your anti-personnel rounds. I'm like, oh, I just kind of blew through all of
They're
them.
deadly, man. When it comes to just a regular person, like you would mow people
Oh,
down
you
in
murder.
2 or 3 shots.
But I would not pay attention to what actual ammo I was using for the gun, which I almost felt like was a bit overwhelming, because not only am I trying to select the right weapon to use, and then I'm trying to select the
2
right
tiers
ammo,
of elements.
which I really like the fact that they give you options, but it became a bit much at some points
I agree.
to actually be able to use the proper ones. And then if I was, let's say I'm running through an area and I'm using a machine gun because I know this works better on certain enemies than other ones, but I select that weaponry. And then I quick switch over to all of a sudden, oh shit, there's a big daddy. I go to the rocket launcher and start popping out frag grenades and everything else. And then, regular enemy after that. And I go back to like the original weapon thinking I'm using the regular ammo. And I end up using the, like anti-personnel or something else. And I blow through all of that, where it doesn't go back to the default, which is still user base error, but at least for gameplay wise, it kind of sucked.
And it kind of doesn't make sense if you really stop and think about it. Like, it's not to the point where it's breaking suspension of disbelief, but if you use an armor-piercing round on a person, it's going to hurt them just as much as a dum-dum, let's say, if that's anti-personnel rounds. It's still going to go straight through them.
Yeah.
It's not going to be like, oh, haha, no big deal. Your anti-armor rounds are not hurting me hot. No. It
Malarkey.
You might say that it is a bit overwhelming because you have all the elements with your plasmids, and then you have elements in the ammunition and different types of ammunition at the same time. For me, playing with a keyboard, easy peasy. If I want to change my ammo, I just push B. If I want to change my weapon, 1 or 2 or 8, and scroll if I really want to. And then switch to plasmids and scroll there if I need to.
It really sounds like this game, as like a first-person shooter, is more meant for
that's how
PC
I feel about a
play
lot
than...
of first-person shooters.
Yeah,
Give me a mouse and a keyboard, and you can get something done instead of having control sticks. I mean, that's a general aside. That's not just Bioshock.
I don't know. I think it's dependent upon the game. I grew up in Counter-Strike era where playing on PC, and then my Call of Duty days were pretty much all 360, PS3, PS4, which I was totally okay with. This game specifically, I think it's a little bit of it's a different animal.
Okay. Harry, anything else?
No, I think I'm good with gameplay.
Yeah, I'm good with gameplay.
I think we're all good there.
I liked the final boss. I wanted to say that I thought it was
Stab, shoot, stab.
I mean, it really wasn't that hard, but I guess I
stab.
like the idea of it more than anything, where you have to actually stop and think and use different elements and do whatnot and hit him with the and the fact that Atlas is just like trying to like become a god by sucking all the atom that he can find. Like, I find it. I was looking forward to it and got to it and sort of whooped him and I was like, oh, okay.
Well, instead of just being a boss where you can just use one solitary weapon to take care of them, it's if you wanted to do it more efficiently, then you had to utilize everything you got up to that point.
I did want to say that when the first time I played this game, when we got to the point where you're supposed to turn yourself into a big daddy, I remember thinking like, oh no, like I don't want to do that. I want to stay be like a person. Like, I don't want to become a big daddy. Like, no matter how the game ends, like, I've lost then because I'm permanently a big daddy. This time I was like looking forward to it. I was like, oh yeah, this is a part where I get to screw up my throat, and then I got to put on the suit, and then I got to get the pheromones, do all that. And I was like, I remember this, and I thought, like, as soon as I put the helmet on, I was like, okay, I know that this changes the game for the rest of it. But were you guys, when you did it, you have to become a Rosie, right? There's no option to become a bouncer, or am I crazy?
I don't know. I put on the suit. I don't.
So did you have like one singular thing to look out of, or you have to be a Rosie? There's only one choice, right? Right. Anyway,
You're
I was
just
looking
there.
forward to that. I like that. That's a fun. I think that's a fun twist for the entire game. That the whole game you've been essentially hunting big daddies to either harvest or protect and save the girls. And then you essentially have to become one. And oh, by the way, you have to protect little sister, completely flipping the gameplay on itself, which
was neat.
I wasn't looking forward to that part actually. I was like, oh no, here's where I gotta protect an NPC, which is always in my opinion, one of the worst tropes of video games.
Yeah,
Whenever
I
they have
agree.
to do that, it's just a fucking nightmare. And I actually got through it my first try this time without too much difficulty. I used a lot of proximity mines and hacked everything I could find, which did we talk about hacking that much?
Hold on.
Yeah.
Not
Before you
really.
get past that part,
Sure.
this is the part where my game actually glitched out once.
Really?
I had to reload the game because she was stuck on harvesting one of the dead bodies.
Mr. Bubbles, help me.
Where she wouldn't continue on the path.
Mm,
So I was stuck in a room. I had to reload the game. So
gotcha.
Oh shit.
yeah.
Well, let's touch on the hacking real quick. I just found it as a mini game, which I just like for any game, just something that's a little different, and that some of them got really challenging. It's like, especially when you first start out, when you get on the expert ones, when you're trying to hack Circus of Value or one of the ammo machines, where it's like it comes down and you have a tube going, top down to the left or top down to the right. And you had to switch them out quick real sometimes, and then go underneath and right in front to see where the broken tubes are.
Right.
I don't know what exactly they call them.
Broken
but-
tubes or alarms.
Yeah,
Came
exactly.
in later.
Which I really found that a lot of fun.
I got tired of it.
I got to the point where I was just paying to have it automatically done.
Yeah,
or,
well-
or making as many automatic tools as
Exactly.
There we go.
I got
So-
to that automatic tool.
I used the crafting almost exclusively for the auto hacking
True.
devices.
Yeah.
And I got to the point where I was either, because normally I wouldn't hack the vending machines, and I don't know if I'm playing the game completely wrong here, but I typically didn't hack them. I would only hack the cameras, and if I knew I was in an area that I was going to defend, I'd hack a turret or what have you. And in the beginning of the game, I was like hacking everything.
Yeah.
And then towards the end, I was like, oh, fuck this thing. I'm just going to blow it up. And, oh, there's a camera. Great. Boom. Blow it up.
Give me the safe.
Yeah,
Boom.
safe, auto hack. Safe,
Yeah.
auto hack.
The turrets would only take out one or two enemies max anyway.
Yeah. No, that was more trouble than it was actually worth.
But I started to get tired of it. And I believe in the sequel, they completely streamlined the hacking. They made it much, much simpler. Not infinite.
Yeah, they did.
Which
I don't think it's even in infinite. I meant Bioshock 2 when I said the sequel. No.
Bioshock.
And I did want to say before we move on that I love the shotgun in this game. I like the look and design of it. I love the fact that you can upgrade the weapons and you can see that upgrade physically on the unit, on the weapon, like on the gun. Like you see, like now the shotgun has a bunch of gears, and when you run out of ammo, like steam comes out, like it's a steampunk like shotgun.
Yeah.
Or
No,
or
that
the,
was
the
pretty neat.
Thompson has like all these little doodads on it and steadies it. I liked all that.
It really fit the area that you were in, just kind of like where everything was industrial and
The
kinda
technology, it
that
all
fit
made
that.
sense.
Yeah, where it was steampunk. But that's
This is a
it's actually really great.
good transition.
I was going to say it's really great that you said that, Ralph, because now we are going to move into graphics.
Graphics.
So 1960s steampunk.
1920s.
50s. 1957 was the New Year thing.
Was it?
Yeah.
I could have sworn it was like 1960 was the year.
Or was it
that the
59?
plane crashed.
Okay, it could be
And
1960.
I mean, it was built in like the 1950s, so it still has that whole 1950.
Sure.
No. It wasn't built in the 1950s. It was built in the 1920s.
It was built
pre-World
back-
War II.
It was
Okay.
pre, but when you actually got there,
Yeah, when you get there, it's the 60s.
yes,
It's about 40 years.
So that's important to establish because this place has been kind of tucked away for 30, 40 years almost, and I really think you get the mindset of the attitude of everybody because it has like that old school feel to it where it's cheesy but it's retro, but
Old-timey.
You're modernizing the old times. Here we go.
Let me know if you guys got the same feel, but the character design in this game, it felt kind of reminiscent of Time Splitters. Does anybody else get that? Like the art style of the characters.
I honestly
I can see why you'd go there.
I haven't played enough Time Splitters for it, but I've referenced it once already. I'm just going to go Fallout again because with Fallout you have atomic cars, you have the old houses, you have the old clothing, you have kind of the same thing.
Fundamentally, I do see them as very different, but I will, and I was going to say this for music, but there was one song that I overheard, which is either a song that is also in Fallout 3 or it's just the same singer, because I heard it and immediately my mind went to Fallout 3.
Is this Ralph's Music Minute?
No, it's not.
Okay.
We'll get it.
We're not in music yet.
We're not there yet. I jumped the
That's
gun.
the joke, goddammit.
So, graphics. Playing the remastered version, everything looked great. There wasn't anything that jumped out that was really terrible. And because it was on PC, I could adjust any settings I wanted. I'm sure you guys have more to say with your vanilla console.
I honestly, when it comes to the graphics, I don't have a complaint about anything. The setting and time period that they were going for, I really honestly think they nailed. It does have kind of a steampunky feel to it, but that's the entire environment. You're in a goddamn underwater city that's connected by tubes and buildings and submarines. Big Daddy, who looks like a late 1800s, early 1900 scuba diver.
A lot of the areas are trashed too.
Oh yeah,
and trashed.
as it should be.
I think it's very aesthetically pleasing. I think it's a very interesting world that they crafted for sure. I like a lot of the effects, like the actual, like using the plasmids and things like that. It looks great, especially for the time. Do a lot of very interesting things. Again, this goes back to my favorite plasmid, but the whole like your hand being taken over by all the boils and shit, and then all of the flies and shit coming out of your hand. I thought that was just a really cool way to represent that instead of just being like, I have bees.
Yeah.
Attack bees.
I liked Winter Blast with all the spikes.
Yeah.
Coming
yeah.
out.
The water effects were really cool.
They had to nail that one, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, they absolutely had to nail it, and I feel like they did. The overall design of the Big Daddy I really appreciated too, because they took like what you said, Steve, like that old like diver suit, and then really kind of made it like a little more steampunk, like giant fucking drill, like electrodes on the fucking back. Like Tesla's fucking nightmare.
They
like,
souped it up really well.
Yeah, it's really awesome. It's probably my favorite thing of the entire series is how they've designed and stuck to all of these different interesting looking gadgets. Everything looks like it works in a way that makes sense mechanically.
Yeah.
And that's what I really appreciate about it, with the exception of the tubes when you're hacking, because there's no water-based security system.
We'll take the hacking graphics out of it.
That's all I can really say about graphics. I liked... my only complaint is that the game is a little dark.
Oh,
you
that's
mean
true.
like brightness-wise?
Yes.
Yes.
Just brightness-wise,
I agree.
it's a little dark.
I turned up the brightness quite a bit.
I did the same thing.
See, I don't like doing that because then I feel like it really bugs me to see brown darkness, if that makes sense.
No, I get what
You
you're saying,
guys-
where it seems a little skewed, where you know it should be
Colors
really
off.
dark, but at the
Yeah.
same time, I think I'm with Harry, where if I don't turn it up a little bit, I'm going to be missing more of that detail. Like sometimes if there's like a little bit of writing on the wall.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. Like that's where I think it's a flaw. It should have been a little bit lighter, and you get to experience everything instead of having to turn up the brightness.
No, I think games in general are too dark, though. I find that to be an issue with a lot of games where I'm constantly turning up the brightness.
All those horror games you play.
No, but I feel like I can't see what's going on in a lot
Yeah,
of the
I had to turn
games.
the brightness up at least 4 ticks on Katamari.
You're a fucking asshole. Graphically, I did want to mention I really enjoyed that first introduction to the city when you're riding the bathysphere through the outside of the city. Now, it doesn't make sense to have all those neon signs all over
In the water,
city.
I was wondering about that too.
Like there was a lot of design to make it look like New York outside of the place, and it's like, why are they designing something that you're just going to look exactly? But like, why are they throwing all this design into the actual city when you're not actually going to actually venture out into the city? And that was my one gripe.
Immersion.
Well, I wish
or
you could have
submersion.
I wish you could have explored outside the individual tubes and everything.
So you can see the entire
Yeah,
environment.
maybe you can get in like some kind of submarine device and travel around to see the whole city as a whole. Like you don't know how big this place is ever.
Yeah.
They never give you any kind of scope of reference. Like how big is this city?
I was going to ask you guys because we're in the right category, if you ever took the time to stop and really look out the window.
A couple times, but not too often.
Well, for this run, I realized that I was like ready to fight Fontaine, and I hadn't really done that. Again, I was about 16 hours in for the game, scrounging as much as I could. But taking the time to stop and look around and really take it in, because it was my second playthrough, I guess I just didn't think to do that. But Harry, you bring up a good point that they put so much into the city in the background. Maybe even for a brief snippet, you get a chance to feel how big the city really is by a short level where you have to transfer from one building to another, and you get the chance to go in
the tube.
In a bathysphere you can control. I don't know what it would be.
Yeah, at least something to kind of take in if they put the time in to make the environment on the outside to at least have an opportunity to go explore it and appreciate it a little bit. Make it a little better. More... Sorry, go ahead.
Maybe it's better left in your imagination how big the city is.
Maybe.
All right. Well, let's move on into music.
Music.
I'll say this: I think it's like 60% of all of the tracks in here are licensed music. So it's very possible, like you said, Ralph, that you heard something else in Fallout.
It sounded that way. Yeah.
I think there is one song that they might share.
Jesus,
it wasn't like it wasn't like I don't want to set the world on fire. It wasn't like that much. Like holy shit, I'm listening to Three Dog. It wasn't like that. But I was like, oh man. That I think it's just the same performer.
It sounds weird, but for any of you that have played Stubbs the Zombie, it kind of reminded me of that soundtrack.
Stubbs has like the same kind of like
old-timey feel.
Yeah, pre-war.
Yeah, like pre-World War II. Like somewhere in like the 40s, like early 40s, even like I guess late war, like
late 30s.
Yeah,
like when you were born. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, when Harry was born. Come on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, come on.
The sound effects are great too.
Straight out of Compton.
The sound quality of the effects and things like that. I thought were good too.
I want to agree with you, but I also want to say I think there's some that are hit and miss. Like some of the like any combat sound effect, like all that stuff sounded great, but those fucking vending machines haunt my nightmares.
Oh, yeah.
I got so sick of listening to them.
Welcome to the Circus of Value.
Thanks, guys.
And then you walk.
Yes. When it comes to the music...
Welcome to the... Okay.
Here's my music minute. So
Ralph's Music Minute.
When it comes to the music of Bioshock, I think of The Descent to Rapture. There's a nice piece that I think was an original soundtrack piece. And then there's when you rescue a little sister, you get that same like flourish of notes that happens. You hear that over and over and over again. Those are the positives that stay with me. The negatives are the goddamn vending machines or the alarm sound or the sound of the helicopter little turrets that come at
fuck
you.
Those things.
I even yeah. I like the sound of the Big Daddies. I liked actually too, and there were a couple times when you play as the Big Daddy where I was like, "Oh shit, there's a Big Daddy around," but it was me.
Wait, it's me
because I'm going like exactly.
What are your thoughts, Harry?
I like the voice work too. Sorry.
Yeah, no, the voice work was good. I found that
and that has been
Ralph's Music Minute.
Thank you.
I like the voice acting. I think they overutilized the radio system because there was a lot of conversations you were having with somebody that was on the screen that was through like some pane of glass or something like that they needed to use this intercom system.
He needs to play Metal Gear Solid Sons of Liberty.
Oh, God.
Where people are like having codec conversations face to face.
Yeah.
But I mean, other than the random banter of like the splicers in the hallway or anything, the only two conversations you had with somebody in the room were, I think, when you encounter what's his name?
Andrew Ryan.
Yeah, Andrew Ryan
and Tenenbaum.
And Tenenbaum, like at the end. I think maybe you talk
Fontaine?
Yeah, Fontaine at the end.
Kinda.
And then you run into like Tenenbaum like once or twice. But it's like you're never really talking to anybody inside a room. It's always through
True.
some glass or
True.
over an
It's
internet.
always
or
something.
And I found that was kind of odd that you're not having more conversations to progress a storyline.
We're certainly
Like, just
Yeah.
in person.
listening to plenty of conversations, either someone by themselves or with other people.
Like with the tapes.
the
Yeah.
NPCs, the enemies, essentially them. Or no, I mean like you enter an area and you haven't seen anybody yet, and you hear someone having a conversation on their own, like I didn't do it, mommy, it wasn't me.
So I actually think there's a design reason for that. Before we get too far away,
Go.
Of why they do that, I think it shows the general distrust of everyone towards you, since you are, Andrew Ryan's son. You are like a covert type of character that is like, what do they call those? A fucking sleeper agent. Because you do have a code word that triggers you, and people might not trust you. Or it's like, okay, if I'm standing in a room having a conversation with this person and somebody else knows the trigger word and is like, hey, would you kindly kill Miss Tenenbaum? Like something like that. I think it plays into the general mistrust of all the characters have towards you.
I could see that, definitely.
I was pleasantly surprised. I had forgotten that there is a brief section where you're chasing Fontaine, and I actually saw his character model. And I didn't remember seeing that. That's right before you become the big daddy, because you need a little sister to open the door for you.
Yeah.
You chase after him and you see him. And I think I took a couple shots because I caught up to him and could shoot him but couldn't harm him.
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah,
Now
you're
that you
right.
say it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't really count. I think he was still talking to you. He was like talking to you, but he was running away.
Yeah.
And we weren't using the radio.
The only thing that really bothered me sometimes was if you were trying to listen to the tapes or something started automatically playing, and then you ran up to one of the characters who you spoke through within the glass, and they overlapped each other. I mean, I keep subtitles on for all of my games because, sometimes I play with the volume a little low and not always with headphones, but I would at least want to read everything so I know what's being said.
Yeah, you don't want to miss it.
And they overlap each other a good little bit.
Yeah, I got you.
Now,
But more positives than negatives when it comes to the sound design. And I assume that the vending machines are some kind of satire. It's pretty clear that that's the case, and they're meant to be that annoying.
Circus of Valiant.
Shut
up! Oh, God.
I've had enough of it.
Fine. Well, if you feel that way, goddamn Ralph, fucking asshole. Let's
I'm going
move
to cut
on.
my ears off.
Yeah, cut them off, and then just give me your final thoughts.
Final thoughts.
You don't need ears for that,
Well, damn.
dick.
That escalated.
You know what? I'm going to start with final thought. Thank you, Andy, because if it wasn't for you, I probably would have never done it. But now I'm probably just going to move on. I'm just going to skip number 2. I'll go on to Infinite, just continue Bioshock, but at least I actually got to play the original Bioshock. And it wasn't for you, sir, wouldn't have happened.
Thanks, Andy.
So that literally is my final thought. Ralph, give me your final thought.
I had a positive experience with this game when I played it almost 10 years ago, and going back to it, I think I enjoyed it even more. The remastered version, being able to tweak the settings, knowing what I was in for, being able to look forward to it, and overall knowing what to hoard, what to not, what to put Adam into, like whatever plasmids I didn't want.
You put him into Eve.
Yeah. Yeah, right.
Double guns, bitch.
Yeah, no one made that joke. Well done. we got to this point. I think Bioshock is a tentpole shooter for the generation, and people can dispute that, but I remember really being surprised at how much I liked it and enjoyed it. It turned me on to the series and Kevin Levine and his works.
Ken.
Sorry, Ken Levine,
Levine.
not Kevin.
Sorry, Kenneth.
My mistake, Ken Levine. I really feel that the setting is so unique that it gets a lot of credit for that on its own. Like other things could have sucked, but the setting is it's very thought provoking. It's not a typical shooter. It's not, oh, Nazis bad, you good. It really sucks you in. And I think the developers, for whatever difficulties they had, should be commended. I think ultimately it's a fantastic shooter, and all the elements that are used in plasmids and Adam and everything, the choices you have to make, the big daddies, all of it. I really enjoy it. I'm not going to gush anymore.
Clark, final thought.
So when I initially had played the game and played through it, I really enjoyed it. This time going back, it does show its age a little bit as a little bit of an outdated shooter. Now that I have played, Bioshock 2 and Bioshock Infinite, I think Infinite is a more polished game in general. So I would definitely suggest, definitely continue on with the series if you're playing through the first one. Maybe skip 2, except for the multiplayer. Multiplayer is dope. I think the game is definitely worth playing. I will say this. If you're going to play the first one, my only recommendation is to actively avoid it on PS3. I know the difference is going to there's going to be differences in people's experiences with the PS3 version. I would say avoid the PS3 version in total. It's the it had a really bad launch. It had a really, really rough launch on the PS3 specifically, to the fact of people were giving it entire letter grades and entire 10 points difference in score and shit like that. Like it had a really rough launch.
Sounds like Half-Life.
And actually, I mean, even more so to the disorganization of what 2K was. There was a different director for the PS3 version when they ported it from the Xbox version. So there is some fundamental differences with how the game handles and things like that. So I would just say avoid it. Get the 360 version or one of the remasters, because that's touched so many hands that it's probably the 360 version that you're getting anyway. I do think it's a great game. I do like the story. I think it's polished in a way that makes for a very interesting game.
Thank you, sir. Harry.
Cool. I'm not going to ramble on too long, but I did enjoy my experience with this game. I actually enjoyed it more than I was expecting to. Being that this game is getting kind of up there in age at this point.
10 years old. 10 years old, yeah.
Wouldn't stop you from playing Left 4 Dead.
Hey,
Well,
you watch your goddamn mouth.
That game is polished gold, that's why.
It is.
Ah.
But no, I think this game held up remarkably well, to be completely honest with you. I didn't love everything about the game. In fact, I thought it was a little long. I think they could have probably trimmed it down a little bit and not lost any kind of importance.
Coming from the guy that blew through it in 6 hours.
I know, but I'm just saying, towards the end there, I was thinking, well, things are starting to drag a little bit. I'm ready for this to wrap up.
Some padding, becoming a Big Daddy's padding.
Yeah.
Oh, God. That just sounds more uncomfortable than...
That does sound uncomfortable.
Oh, gosh.
Forgot to mention this in gameplay, but I think my favorite section of the game is the entertainment district, where the guy is nuts and trying to
We
create...
haven't mentioned that, sorry.
He's trying to create this perfect work of art with pictures of
bodies.
dead
Yeah,
bodies.
yeah.
That was
I
fun.
enjoyed that part of the game. I actually got lost at that part of the game quite a bit, because it's like this big mall of a maze, or maze of a mall,
Yeah.
however you want to phrase it.
Yeah.
Sorry to cut you off. Did you kill him before he opened the glass for you? When he's walking down the stairs, and there's that one...
Oh, yeah, I didn't get the glass.
I
No.
killed him, yeah.
Yeah, I killed him too. I found out afterwards if you just let him walk down, he would open up that extra pod so you can get that plasmid upgrade. Sorry, I was just curious.
One of the other things I found frustrating is spending your atom to unlock the plasmids. It's a very tight resource in the game, and especially with some of the plasmids having 3 ranks of leveling up, I found myself wasting some that I would buy a level 2, never use it, and then all of a sudden a level 3 pops up. You could just essentially, if it's one that you're not using a lot, just go right to the level 3.
That's what I did, yeah.
And then you save yourself all that.
Yeah.
I ended with a surplus.
Yeah. So I found that frustrating first time going through, not knowing that there was going to be all these tiers to some of these plasmids, and really trying to be careful using the atom. But overall, I did enjoy the experience, and I think that'll be reflected in my grade coming up.
There we go. Well, speaking of the grade, let's move on, guys. Time for the score.
The score.
It rhymed. I didn't plan it.
Give us the score, you whore.
Oh, Jesus.
I don't want to hear it nevermore.
Well, you got that dirty mouth, Ralph. What's your score?
90. There it is.
90%? All right. Harry, score?
I'm going to give it a 8.0, which ties with Zombies Ate My Neighbors.
Oh, nice. Me personally, I'm going to give this B+. Arbitrary Clark.
Nice.
I'm going to give it one definitely memorable experience out of a somewhat glitchy launch of a mess.
I thought you were going to say
That's
one
fair.
big daddy out of two little sisters, but never mind.
No,
Wow. All right.
I was not.
Well, on that note, thank you everybody for joining us again. So, for a special delight, we have some interesting things coming up. We're going to have a couple spin-off episodes at Harry and Clark.
I wouldn't even call them spin-off episodes. We're just doing something different for our next 2 episodes.
Mixing it
Yeah,
up.
pretty much. Yeah, we're going to mix it up a little bit for the next couple. So Harry and Clark are going to review Destiny 2, one of the biggest launches within the past couple months, most expected games
Last
for
month. It's not even a month old yet.
How do you say it? Destiny? Destiny. Never heard of it.
So yeah, we're going to be doing Destiny 2, and then you guys are going to be doing Wolfenstein, right?
Yes.
Wolfenstein,
Ralph and I
the
will...
New Order.
Wolfenstein!
BJ Blazkowicz.
Yes! So that's what you have to look forward to. And then there might be a little bit of specialness after those.
We'll be shooting Nazis. They'll be shooting Warlock robots.
Cabal.
Cabal.
The Red
Cabal.
Legion.
And we got... All right, well, and then you're going to have to stay tuned to see what comes after that. Got a little special treat for everybody. So again, thank you. We love you. Send your support. And...
Game over. Game over. Game over. Game over.